This isn't the little Rann of Kutch, it's the greater Rann of Kutch. And at about 12,000 square kilometers, it's roughly 2.5 times larger than the little Rann of Kutch. You've seen us drive across that flat desert bed. Now we're going to be driving across the greater Rann of Kutch on a tarmac road, and we're heading to Dholavira. Now Dholavira apparently centuries ago was a metropolis of the Harappan civilization and is one of the largest excavated sites in the world to date. Should be a very interesting place to check out in this weather.
The drive to Dholavira is long and arduous. The road isn't smooth throughout, and it gives me ample opportunity to further evaluate ride quality, handling and steering precision.
It's 45 degrees in the shade, but do I look all hot and sweaty? Well, honestly, I just couldn't be bothered how hot it is out there, and that's because in here, it's a nice and cool 17 degrees. And that's what makes these SUVs all that special. They're so comfortable, so luxuriously appointed with all the creature comforts you could ever want. Why, you could even drive to hell and back if they could get there and not even break out into a sweat.
Dholavira is a paradigm of an intelligent and forward-thinking society. Everything in the city is well planned and engineered. Yes, you heard me right, engineered. This isn't a society of people living in caves, carrying around clubs and bonking mates on their heads to copulate. No, this society was hierarchical, planned and finally executed.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to shoot inside Dholavira. Nevertheless, we're headed back to the little Rann of Kutch, and in the meantime, take a closer look at the Q7.
The Q7 was the first SUV Audi ever built and is based on the Audi Pikes Peak Quattro concept. In 2006, the year it was introduced, it drew a lot of glances. Today, however, it feels ostentatious and the bulky proportions make it look quite out of place, though it is still the most intimidating. But ignore the design and what you have is an SUV that simply defies Newtonian principles.
The Q7 is a fantastic SUV. For the sheer size and the mass it carries, it all works very well on the road. But out here in the wild, frankly, it's a bit of a letdown.
And that's principally because the Q7 was never built to tread off the beaten path. In fact, our Q7 even came short with directional, high-performance tarmac tires. So while getting her into the little run may not be very challenging, anything more would severely strain her reserves.
Now the Q7's only claim to off-road fame is its adaptive suspension management and what we all know as Quattro technology. And Quattro as we know it is just basically four-wheel drive. And what adaptive suspension management does is just elevates the Q7 and gives it a few more mm of ground clearance. And to be very honest, I think that's just best for clearing speed breakers within the city.
It, however, does not have hill descent control. The Q7 has a torsion differential, which is basically short for torque sensing, and this lets the differential provide a 40-60 torque split. Though, given the circumstances, it can provide up to 65% power to the front or 85% to the rear wheels.
The Q7's 3-litre TDI engine is by far the thirstiest engine in this comparison. And that's because it suffers from a lot of turbo lag. So you're constantly stepping on the gas to get this engine into the power band. And as we all know, of course, that consumes a lot of fuel.
This 3-litre V6 diesel is mated to a 6-speed gearbox, but neither can match up to either the X5 or the ML320. It just lacks the enthusiasm and the grunt to keep pace with the Benz or the Beamer. And while the diesel-powered Q7 may seem a more economical choice, if I could afford one, I would put my money down on the 4.2-litre V8 petrol just to experience its ICBM-like thrust.
The Q7's multimedia interface is a fidgety system, and I'm not entirely sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a good thing because there's a lot of stuff for you to play with, but then it could also be a bad thing because to control any of that, you're going to have to stop by the side of the road, switch on your hazards, and then play with it. And then this central control interface does not control the air conditioning system. So you're going to have to use a separate set of switches which are placed on the control panel here.
So, the Q7, for all its Quattro technology and adaptive suspension, is just another well-built car. It lacks the credentials to go trailblazing, but once on the road is a frugal mile muncher with decent ride quality and a host of features to keep you otherwise engaged. It's also the cheapest in this lot, but what you get is a fairly good run-around-town SUV, which intimidates lesser vehicles as you fill up your rearview mirrors like no other and break out into an evil grin.